Here we go. The NFL season is 10 weeks through. We got about 7 more, maybe 8 more, depending on COVID cases. Man, it's been a while since we've done an NFL video on here. I'm Brian Hummel here. Anyway, so real quickly, before we get going with my thoughts on the NFL season so far, I want to show you the current standings of my fantasy football teams that I drafted here on SCN in August. So let's take a look at this. So of course we start out with the good, and it's a very surprisingly and a very nasty good at the same time. So my fantasy team here in the Insanity League that I drafted, I believe this is the first one I did. We are currently at 10-0. We have clinched the number 1 seed because there's only 3 weeks left in the regular season. So, of course, right now the playoff picture, 6th is the cutoff, and that race, still anyone's game, but I have obviously clinched number 1 in the league. But let's look back. It's been a while since you guys have really seen this. So, of course, I play my friend Jason here. He's 6-4, and of course, he doesn't have a kicker. Alvin Kamara, we don't know what he's going to do now with Drew Brees out of the picture for a few weeks. T. Higgins, he's been good, but is he going to play? That's the big question. He didn't practice Thursday, T. Higgins, so that's up in the air. Calvin Ridley, he's still up in the air. He's limited again with a foot injury. That could be bad for me because all I have is Jarvis Landry. And as you can see, I haven't really made any transactions. I'm just very happy with my team. So that was my reasoning why. But I'll go back and I'll show you the last few weeks here. Of course, we won 117-104 here. You see there, made it 10 in a row, but let's take a look at the simple box score here. Just look at this. I mean, DeAndre Hopkins, that beast catch, which we'll talk about the NFL in general in a few minutes here. We got Kareem Hunt. You know, I don't know how he did so well, but this is what hurt me. This right here, Russell Wilson. And of course, you got Mike Evans, who's been on again, off again, you know, but I mean, looking through, I mean, Ryan Suckup helped me too. I guess I'll say I just got a very lucky win. That's about the only way to put it. I got a very lucky win with Russell Wilson crapping the bed, basically. The last few weeks, he's really crapped the bed, and here I got lucky because I didn't bench Calvin Ridley. I work on Sunday mornings, so that tends to cause me to forget to set my lineup sometimes. So, yeah, we're at 11-0 in this league, or 10-0 rather. We could be 11-0 with a win this week. However, I don't get lucky because I got to face Kyler Murray tonight on Thursday Night Football, which I'm going to give you my prediction on that game very shortly. Let's go to the second league. This was the one I said, my last recap, I said it was the good, the bad, and the ugly. This one was the bad, but it has turned for the good. I have won 5 out of my last 7 games, and have gone to 7-3. Of course, I play the same guy that I'm playing in the other league in this league. So that will be a fun matchup. I will show you the game center, of course. Oh, I'm going to have to bench Evan Ingram, though. Might move Clyde Edwards-Helaire into the lineup, or probably Julio Jones if Calvin Ridley's out. He's going to be very valuable. But of course, the last week I won against my brother. Always great to get a win against your younger sibling. Of course, he had Tua. I had Kyler Murray. And just looking on down the list, somehow I got lucky. Saints defense really helped me out as well. Going back to week 9 now. And of course, Kyler Murray has been a beast. He's been an absolute beast the last few weeks. And again, another lucky win. Now, this is a league not many people have checked their teams of late. So, essentially, this league will be shut down at the end of the year. I just don't see a point to continuing to run this league if no one checks their lineup, so I've decided not to renew it. But we will show you the finishing results of this league, even though it will not be occurring next year. Oh, I hit the wrong button. Alright, then over to the ugly league that I was telling you about. So, of course, 3-7 in this league. This is just a league I think I just gave up on. I think I easily gave up on it. Again, no real running backs. I do have a waiver request placed, but again, I kind of just gave up. It was pointless. See Joshua Kelly, Will Fuller, Tyler Boyd. MVS has been fantastic. He's been great. I thought there was a chance for me to crawl back up, but keep in mind, this league has an 8-team playoff. I'm 1 game back of that 8th seed out of 12. So I'm not out of the woods, or I'm not out of this just yet. Of course, I don't think this person checks their lineup either. This will be a league, don't know if I'm going to renew it yet, but likely could happen. You see right here again, MVS has just been stellar this season. Of course, I lose to a good friend of mine there. I also lose last week to the top team, or 2 weeks ago to the top team, but it was a close battle. I almost eked this one out. I was that close. You know I would have loved that upset. Of course, this guy is on a huge tear the last few weeks. So, yeah, so essentially, that's how my fantasy teams are doing. So anyway, now I'm going to kind of just say what I think of the NFL season thus far. Let me just, so of course, last week we saw Arizona and Buffalo play. I watched that game. Arizona, of course, won on the DeAndre Hopkins catch. He just went over everybody for that catch. It was phenomenal. Probably one of the best catches I've seen in a really long time. I certainly ruled him out because Kyler Murray had been having a god-awful day throwing the ball. At least he didn't look good throwing the ball. He did look good running the ball. But with that much time left, the run game was essentially knocked out of the picture. You can't run in that situation. So, of course, you know, the Bills are leading their division right now. The Chiefs are 8-1. Steelers are the only undefeated team left. And then the Colts are now in the lead of their division. Of course, since we last talked, the Titans were undefeated and were running very well. The NFC least, the Eagles are leading that picture right now. The Cardinals, the Rams, and the Seahawks would all be in the playoffs right now if it were to start. Of course, Thursday Night Football, I'm recording this at 7 p.m. Eastern. That starts in an hour and a half. So the Cardinals and the Seahawks will face off with each other. The Packers are leading their division. Doesn't look like anybody's going to challenge them unless the Vikings get on a really good tear. The Bears have just fallen apart. They've fallen off the face of the earth. The Saints are on a winning streak, a 6-game winning streak, but they now have Jameis Winston under center instead of Drew Brees. Oh boy. That's all you can say about this. So, currently my thoughts on the AFC, there's really nobody. I mean, the Bills have passed the test. You know, I officially am going to concede and say the Bills have passed the test. They are a legitimate team in the AFC. However, The Bills did cut it close with the Cardinals. I don't think you can fault them there. I think they're legit against NFC teams if they get that far. The problem is I feel like the AFC is kind of a mess right now. I don't feel like the Chiefs are a strong 8-1 yet. They certainly are one of the stronger teams in the AFC, and they deserve the recognition for being 8-1. But honestly, I don't know if I'm sold on calling them a Super Bowl team quite yet. Again, 9 games in, you can say, well, come on, you're just hating on them because you're a Chargers fan. And maybe that's the case, but again, I just don't feel like anybody in the AFC has really shown much poise or promise yet. And I will say, scrolling down and looking at the Steelers, they are just, I'm telling you, they deserve a lot of credit. They deserve being 9-0, they deserve the credit of being one of the best teams in the AFC. However, they are one of the weakest 9-0 teams I think I've ever seen. They almost lost to the Cowboys. And again, the Cowboys. I don't know how you manage that. I think they almost lost to another crappy team, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not trying to hate on Steeler Nation, but I mean, that win against the Ravens, though, I will admit, was impressive. Now, you could say also the Ravens are falling apart. They don't look like themselves quite yet. So maybe they're starting to fall off the wagons here. And the Browns, they just keep flip-flopping every game. One game they're good, the other game they're bad. And the Colts, the Titans, I don't know what happened to the Titans the last few games, but ever since that Bills game, it seems like they've just fallen flat on their face. So maybe they need to go back to some basics here. The Texans, the Colts. I mean, I'll admit it, them leading their division, I don't know if, I knew it was going to be, I figured it'd be a 3-team race in that division. I thought the Texans would be in the mix. It just didn't pan out that way, but the Colts, they're looking good. They're streaky, though, so I don't know if I'm sold on them yet, either. Really, the Bills, to me, are the only team so far I've been sold on in the AFC. And I'm not a Bills fan. Mark that. I'm not a Bills fan, but I think they're probably the best threat in the AFC right now, assuming they don't have to play Kansas City in the playoffs. On the NFC side, I don't like the situation in the NFC least. This is just a mess. I will say, though, I'm loving what I'm seeing from Alex Smith. I gotta give credit here. If we're going to talk about the NFC least, Alex Smith has just been great. It's just been a miracle for him. The fact that he's been able to get behind the wheel again and race is nothing short of a miracle. And it's just fun watching him play. I wish I had Sunday Ticket. I'd watch him play every week because it's just, again, I got to applaud him coming back from something like that. That's just unbelievably fantastic. The Washington football team, they got to figure something out. But the Eagles, oh boy, don't get me started on them. I'm telling you, it's becoming a dumpster fire over there. I don't know if it's because Carson Wentz is just playing god-awful football, but it's just bad over there. That whole division's bad. The Giants, too. But the Giants, at least, I don't know how they beat the Eagles, but hey, it happened. And they're on a 2-game win streak. We go to the NFC West now. The Cardinals, the Rams, the Seahawks, the 49ers. This was a division I thought all 4 teams could have made the playoffs in this. And, of course, the 49ers have hit a barrage of injuries. And I don't think they can rebound from this, especially with how good the Bucks are. I mean, they're essentially 3 games back of the Bucks, and I think they're going to be that team that does slide into the 7th spot, or one of the 3 wild card spots, I should say. Not necessarily the 7th, but the Cardiac Cardinals. I'm telling you, I said earlier in the year, I've told people, this team is a sleeper team. They're a lot better than you think they are. They proved it by beating Buffalo last week. They proved it by beating the Seahawks in overtime on one of the Sunday night football games. They could very well do it tonight. But I gotta ask, what happened to the Seahawks? It looks like, I know Chris Carson's been out a few games. Does that have something to do with it? I mean, because Russell Wilson just does not look like the MVP candidate I had predicted him to be a month ago. A little over a month ago. He is not the MVP candidate I had thought he'd be. He just looks like a shadow of that. So, I don't know. They need to regroup. That's the best I can say about it. And the Rams, undefeated at home, they're looking good. They're not looking the best, but they're looking good. That's all I can say on that. We go to the NFC North. The Packers, they're going to win this division. I don't think there's any doubt on it right now. Aaron Rodgers is still playing great football. He's, again, making the most of the situation where he doesn't have good receivers around him. He's just looking good. He's playing at a high level. And to me, he's the top MVP candidate right now. Of course, the Bears, the Vikings, the Lions. Off to the NFC South now. The Falcons will be playing the Saints this week, and of course they will be playing against Jameis Winston. So maybe they catch a break. This is a chance. I think this is a huge opportunity for the Bucs, because if Jameis Winston comes out and plays like vintage Jameis Winston, this division is going to go to the Bucs. Mark my words on it. If Drew Brees does not return very soon, and Jameis Winston plays like Tampa Bay Bucks Jameis Winston that got picked off like almost every play, I assure you the Bucs will win this division, and the Saints may have to settle for a wild card. The Falcons are out of it. The Panthers are out of it. I just don't see them making it here. But the Bucs are so streaky. They play well against okay teams, but they play absolutely crappy against the Saints. So, I don't know. I don't think the Bucs advance. If I had to make a Super Bowl pick right now, that's a tough one. I would lean toward the Packers, for sure. But the problem is the Packers really got wiped by the Bucs, so I don't think they're. The problem is the NFC is so tough, and the AFC is so weak, that it just makes it so impossible to predict. So, and I'm going to say the Chiefs just because they're the Super Bowl defending champs, that they will go back. But I wouldn't rule out the Steelers or the Bills. I think the Steelers or the Bills are the biggest threats to Kansas City. But I think it's between the Saints and the Bucs. I think that's going to be the NFC Championship game. And certainly, I think if that's the case, the Saints got this. But again, the refs could screw them out of this. I wouldn't even rule out the Cardinals. I think Arizona is the dark horse of the NFC, and people just don't realize it yet. Kyler Murray, he's now in my MVP discussion. If we're going to pick an MVP now, it's between Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes, Kyler Murray, and Josh Allen. I think those 4 are the legitimate MVP candidates right now, looking at this point in the season. But Kyler Murray the last few weeks, I think you got to give it to him. But at the same time, Rodgers, again, the reason I say Rodgers is the top candidate is not just on the stats alone. He has no receivers there besides MVS and Adams there. Other than those two, he has nothing. Well, and Aaron Jones in the backfield. Okay, but other than that, he's got nothing. He's got no weapons around him. Again, I have stated so many times, Patrick Mahomes has 5 different weapons that could be top receivers on any other team. That's where I think the MVP talks for him slide away. That's where I say he's not an MVP candidate, nor should he be, if you have that good of a receiving core around you. So anyway, that's enough for the NFL discussion today. We want to thank you for watching, and we'll see you here real soon. Be sure to like or dislike, subscribe, and of course check out our friends on Heartland Spirit. They have their podcast every single Friday, 6:15 Eastern on YouTube, 6 p.m. Eastern on Spotify. And again, they have a special coming up on Sunday afternoon where they will be broadcasting during the Colts and the Packers game. So hopefully you'll tune in for that. And until then, goodbye everyone.